Hey guys, what is up? It is the Fast Break Report here, bringing you guys another vlog. So it's very rare that I talk about gambling problems and stuff like that on this channel, but everything that's happened over the past year with gambling in the NBA clearly states that the NBA has a absolutely insane gambling problem. So just this week alone, Gilbert Arenas has been arrested for running basically illegal underground poker games where they were like high stakes, like really high stakes poker games, and like going to the extent of having like poker tables with his fucking name on them, having women there to provide like massages and drinks and even companionship. It was like kind of like a Diddy party, but with cards. So, Gilbert Arenas ended up getting arrested. And this isn't the first time, apparently, that Gilbert Arenas has done this. Back in the day when he had that gun incident in the locker room, with the Washington Wizards, that was over a gambling issue. Then another thing that happened this week, Marcus Morris got arrested at the airport, apparently, in front of his family. TMZ is reporting that he went 51 hours without something to eat or drink in jail. But apparently in 2024, he wrote, he wrote $260,000 in bad checks to 2 Las Vegas casinos in 2024. He put out this whole spiel of shit on Instagram, but apparently this dude wrote checks to 2 casinos and they bounced like a fucking basketball. So it's just the idea, man. It's pretty insane to me how much gambling is becoming a problem in the NBA. Jonte Porter was obviously the first case, right? It happened to Jonte Porter, where he got a lifetime ban from the NBA, right? Then you have Terry Rozier, which was another situation that showed that he was another person gambling and I guess doing parlays or whatever. And then Malik Beasley's situation is supposedly so fucking bad that he was gambling future NBA contracts on shit. Like, he owed people so much money that he was gambling his future NBA contracts. And I guess the question we have to start asking ourselves is, what the fuck is Adam Silver gonna do, right? Like, it's at a point now where, yeah, you can look at the Gilbert Arenas situation and say that that was like a little different because Gilbert Arenas is not in the NBA anymore. However, if Gilbert Arenas is hosting high stakes, illegal poker games with, prostitution and, people spending hundreds of thousands of dollars, I get that. People are going to do whatever they want to do with their money, but it's just the idea, if current NBA players are partaking in that, and I'm going to assume that they are because I do think they're going to investigate this, whether or not any truth comes of that or not, that like current NBA players are gambling in that or not. I do believe we're going to see a very harsh punishment come as a result of all this. Marcus Morris, I get it. It's owing casinos money. He put out a whole thing running cover on Instagram saying that like, oh, well, like, did I wait too late to pay him back? Yeah. Did I know they were going to put out an arrest warrant for me? No, I don't know. I believe it, but I don't. Just because NBA players are incredibly irresponsible with their money. And especially a guy like Marcus Morris, it's kind of like he's maybe on his way out of the NBA. So I don't really know how much I really believe any of this, like that they like that he had intentions of paying this back, because I'm like, $260,000 when you consider how much money has Marcus Morris made in like his career. I think I can look that up on Basketball Reference, right? So Marcus Morris career earnings is, it's here somewhere. It's at the bottom. He has a career earnings of $108 million, and that is obviously before taxes. But still, like, $108 million and you can't pay back $260,000. You know what I'm saying? So, like, I don't know if it's really like him just running cover, like, oh yeah, I can pay this back. I don't know, something about me, like his last 2 fucking paychecks in the NBA were for less than $200,000. In 2023, 2024, when he played for the Cavaliers, it was $197,000. $328,000, and then I guess it was like a 2-way contract, and then he got another 2-way contract that same year for $116,000. So Marcus Morris is 35 years old. He's on the tail end of his career, likely going to be out of the NBA, or likely is already out of the NBA, and like his future in the NBA is done. But Adam Silver's got to come down on this, man. Adam Silver's got to do something because, listen, I'm going to tell you something, man, okay? Most fans already think that, like, PEDs are running rampant in the fucking NBA, right? Especially considering they don't really test for it. And even if they did, there's certain players that I think, even if they did test positive for it, they would never put it out to the public. Guys like LeBron James, right? Like, can you imagine if LeBron James tested positive for HGH or steroids? I just simply don't think, like, yeah, you have your people who care, but, like, then you'd have your people who don't care. But it's just the idea, it ruins the integrity of the sport, I think. And then when you bring in gambling, and it's like you got guys that are, like, purposely missing three-pointers or purposely missing shots because they have a fucking over-under they have to meet. For me, I know that would compromise the entire sport. You know, it's funny because, like, every passing day when I look at these sports and stuff like that, I look at what Pete Rose did and I'm like, yeah, you know what? Like, Pete Rose was at least betting on his team to fucking win. You know what I'm saying? Jonte Porter and Malik Beasley, and I think even Terry Rozier, were like purposely like, okay, yeah, okay, I'll play a game, I'll miss 8 shots, hit on my parlay, and pocket extra money, right? I kind of look at this and think, like, Jonte Porter is a guy that I could look at and go, okay, he's a 2-way player, right? He's, you know, was a guy that didn't really hit it big in the NBA. Like, he's a little understandable, right? I understand it a little more for a guy like Jonte Porter because he's never had that big break in the NBA. But you look at guys like Marcus Morris and Terry Rozier and Malik Beasley, these are all guys that have made millions upon millions of dollars in their NBA careers. And for whatever reason, it's like they're okay with fucking it up over gambling. You know, Miami's trying to trade Terry Rozier right now. You know what I'm saying? And when you have all this gambling stuff coming on, and, you know, teams are not going to want to trade for guys or sign guys that they have to worry about purposely throwing games because they're trying to meet a parlay. You know, I don't know if Malik Beasley re-signed with a team. I know the Miami Heat are trying to trade Terry Rozier. Marcus Morris's NBA career is pretty much over, and Jonte Porter got a lifetime ban. And I just feel like Adam Silver is getting to a point where he's got to come up with something. I guarantee you right now at this very moment, with all the gambling stuff going on around the NBA, Adam Silver's coming up with something. He has to. And it can't be some light fine either. You know what I'm saying? This isn't like you criticized a ref. You know what I'm saying? Or you yelled at a ref or said something to a fan that you shouldn't have. This legitimately, like, stuff like this compromises the integrity of your game. You know, it gets to a point where it's like you're going to watch a game and a guy's going to shoot a game winner and maybe he was capable of making that shot. Like, let's say Steph Curry, right? Obviously, this is just an example, and I'm not in any way insinuating that Steph Curry's gambling on his games, but let's say you're watching Steph Curry play for the Golden State Warriors, and the game's coming down to the line, and he placed a massive fucking bet on his team to maybe lose the game. You know, like, maybe they were playing a good team, maybe they were playing a team like the Boston Celtics, and he knows his team shouldn't win that game, so he bets on his team to lose it, right? And it gets to a point where he has the opportunity to win the game, and let's say he's shooting, for a game winner, a shot that he makes maybe 9 out of 10 times, right? Or, I don't know, maybe even 10 out of 10 times because of Steph Curry. Let's just say it's a shot that we all know that he's capable of making, but he fucking smokes it on purpose because he wants to hit on his parlay and pocket, I don't know, a couple $1 million, right? That would, people don't want to watch the sport and watch a shot like that and then have to question of whether or not that player purposely missed that shot or not. You know what I'm saying? Or, you get what I'm saying. Nobody wants to watch a sport where they have to question the integrity of every shot being taken. And I'm going to tell you right now, man, if it's happening in the NBA, it's definitely happening in the NFL. It's definitely happening in probably every sport. The MLB, stuff like that. I guarantee you the NBA is not the only sport this is happening in. It's just the first one that's really been front and center that we've seen real consequences come from. I think I really don't know how you punish something like this. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, you could do lifetime bans, but what are you gonna lifetime ban every fucking player that bets a parlay or something like that? I really think this might sound a little harsh, but I think if you're gonna gamble on games and they catch you gambling, you should have a minimum 25 game suspension. Minimum. You thought gambling, you think you lost money, you think you lost $1 million, $2 million playing that fucking parlay. Now I'm gonna cost you a quarter of your fucking paycheck, right? That's what and it should be without pay. I really do. I'm not even kidding. You want to hit these players in their pockets. That's the only way to make them understand that what they're doing is wrong. Even all the time I'll see these fucking fines, right? James Harden. Right? I remember James Harden got a fine for criticizing a referee, and it was $20,000 or $40,000 or something like that. I'm like, bro, that's James Harden's fucking bar bill, okay? That's how much money James Harden has made in his entire career. Not in his entire career, but James Harden's made well over $200 million in his entire career. To him, $20,000 to $40,000 is a fucking bar bill, okay? I think that every fine should be based on a percentage of your career earnings. I know that sounds unfair, but and yeah, maybe it's cruel and unusual punishment. I don't know, but it's just the idea the NBA needs to start cracking down on gambling because Marcus Morris is likely, obviously he's not betting parlays, but he's cashing bad checks. You've got the Gilbert Arenas thing, which could open up an entire can of worms. I don't think Gilbert Arenas is gonna snitch on anybody, but they're obviously going to investigate it to see who's been there, who's they're gonna look at bank account information, wire transfers, and stuff like that. This could be a big deal, and if it ends up being that you have all these players that are gambling on their games or doing parlays, they're doing illegal gambling outside of the sport and stuff like that, Adam Silver's gotta do something. I don't know what that something is, but if it were me and I was in this position, I think the NBA has a board of governors. I would really get together with the board of governors and be like, listen, we got to do something about this. We really have to come down hard on this shit if we really want our game to keep its integrity. Because I'm going to tell you right now, man, the worst thing you can do for any sport is compromise the integrity of the sport. Once it gets to a point where people don't want to watch, the NBA is already suffering. There's already no defense being played. I think the new CBA helps a lot, being that you can only really have 2 stars on your team without sacrificing your bench, which in turn makes you less competitive. I think the new CBA was a step in the right direction, but you already have the All-Star game that's shit. You already have it where people don't think any defense is being played. You already have it where people think too many three-pointers are being shot. And once you get to a point where you have to start questioning of whether or not the player is purposely making or missing shots, at that point, people start, mentally checking the fuck out. So I expect there to be some type of new gambling policy before the season starts. I think Adam Silver is watching these types of things, and I think before the start of the season, we're going to see a new gambling policy put out by the NBA, and they're gonna need it, and they're gonna need it desperately. And even the sad part is, even when they come out with that new gambling policy, or rules against gambling, you're gonna have somebody this upcoming season who gets caught breaking it, and then it's just gonna have to get more stricter, or they're gonna have to apply that ban or that rule or whatever it is they come up with to that player. And they're going to have to, whoever that one player is, there's going to be one player this upcoming year who breaks the fucking gambling rule. And honestly, at this point, I think it really doesn't matter who it is. I think Adam Silver is going to have to set a fucking example. Like, even if it is somebody like LeBron James, I think Adam Silver, like if it was LeBron, right? I almost think that would be the best thing. To be honest with you, I almost think that would be the best thing for the NBA, because it's like, you know what? Adam Silver gets to show the entire league and the entire world that it's like, I don't give a fuck if you're LeBron James, okay? If you break this rule, we will penalize you to the maximum degree that we think you should be penalized to. And if it were LeBron, suspend him 25 games. Suspend him 50 games. Like, make it fucking known that you are not fucking around. That's what Adam Silver has to do. And when I see all these stories, like, I'm just like, yo, it just seems like a new gambling story is coming out every month or so. And can't have that. You can't have that. And I, honestly, like, stuff like this makes me a little more weary of the sport. It sucks because, like, now the problem is now the question's in everybody's mind. The problem is now it's like, now we're all going to be watching games and, like, see somebody do something fucking stupid, and we're going to be like, so-and-so's got a fucking parlay they had to hit tonight. Oh, this guy smoked a fucking layup. Yep. Must need that payday from fucking FanDuel, And I don't want that to be the case. I don't think anybody wants that to be the case. But they really have to find some way to resolve this, because if they don't and they're not harsh about it, if it's something fucking minor, people are going to continue to do it. Even regardless, there's going to be one or two bad eggs, regardless of whatever the policy is, that still does it. But the harsher you make the punishment, the less likely guys are to partake in gambling. And I think that, honestly, it's kind of crazy to me that people are even doing this, because if I was in the NBA and I was making millions, like if I was Marcus Morris and I'm making like $100 million in my career, gambling is probably one of the last things I'm doing. But everybody's got their vices, man. So for some of these guys, gambling is a vice. It gives them something to do with all this money that they fucking made. Granted, I think gambling is generally a bad thing. I don't gamble a whole lot. But when I do, it's usually I just go play blackjack with, a friend of mine, and we're not there for maybe more than an hour or two. We eat dinner, play a couple hands of blackjack. We set a limit on ourselves, like this is how much we're going to spend. And we don't go over that fucking limit. But some people don't have that ability to just stop. And that's the other thing, too. It's like maybe some of these guys have a legitimate problem. Maybe they have a legitimate gambling addiction. So I have a feeling that there's going to be a lot of changes, not only coming to the NBA, but probably the MLB, the NFL, the NHL. I don't know. But I do feel like gambling is, the more legal it becomes, the more of a problem it's going to become in professional sports. So tell me what you guys think about this down below in the comment section below. A like helps me out. Subscribe if you guys want to see more on the Fast Break Report. And I'm out of this motherfucker. Peace, guys.